Chosen ones, do you know the fastest way to block your own blessing? It's not failure, it's not fear, it's confiding in the wrong person at the wrong time. One careless conversation can delay the breakthrough you've been praying for. Stay with me, because today may decide whether your miracle moves forward or slips away. September is more than just another page on the calendar. It carries with it a symbolic weight that deeply affects the spirit. In many traditions, September is tied to harvest, a season of reaping what has been sown earlier in the year. Spiritually, this often translates into a time when the chosen ones begin to sense the results of their inner work, whether that's the discipline they've practiced, the prayers they've made, or the sacrifices they've endured quietly. The energy of this month is unique because it pushes you toward completion, but it also tests whether you are truly ready to step into the new chapter that's opening up. You may notice that life feels heavier during September. That's not by accident. Right before breakthroughs, pressure always increases. Just as a seed pushes hardest against the soil right before it emerges into the light, the soul of the chosen one often feels pressed, stretched, and even attacked during this month. This is because September's energy isn't just about abundance. It's also about separation. It's a dividing line between what belongs to your destiny and what needs to be left behind. One of the reasons many people feel spiritually targeted in September is because unseen forces recognize the importance of timing. Breakthroughs rarely come without resistance. Think about the last time you were on the verge of something great. Wasn't it also the time when distractions, conflicts, or unexpected setbacks appeared out of nowhere? That's exactly what September magnifies. It reveals how close you are to your breakthrough by the level of opposition you encounter. Instead of seeing these challenges as obstacles, begin to interpret them as confirmation that you are on the right track. September also aligns with seasonal and cosmic shifts. For those in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the month when summer fades and autumn begins, symbolizing transition, balance, and letting go. Spiritually, this mirrors the inner journey. You are asked to release what no longer serves you so you can step into a season of maturity. The cooler winds, shorter days, and earlier nights all reflect a turning inward, an invitation to pause, reflect, and prepare for what's next. For the chosen ones, this means September carries heightened sensitivity. You may feel more intuitive, more alert to subtle signals, or more aware of spiritual warfare around you. This isn't to make you anxious, but to sharpen your discernment. When you recognize the energy shift, you stop interpreting resistance as failure and instead see it as part of the process. So as September unfolds, embrace the pressure and the intensity. View it as a spiritual signpost that you are approaching harvest season. The soil is breaking, the fruit is ripening, and your spirit is aligning. This energy shift is not working against you, it's pushing you toward the very breakthrough you've been praying for. One of the greatest mistakes the chosen ones make during seasons of breakthrough is speaking too soon. It often comes from an innocent place, excitement, eagerness, or the need for reassurance. When you've been carrying a vision in silence for months or even years, the urge to finally tell someone feels almost irresistible. But here's the danger. What is spoken prematurely is often weakened before it has the strength to stand. Think of a seedling just sprouting from the ground. If you dig it up too early to show others what's growing, you risk killing it before it can take root. In the same way, when you reveal your plans, ideas, or breakthroughs before they have matured, you expose them to the elements: criticism, envy, doubt, and even sabotage. Not everyone has the heart to nurture what you've planted. Some will trample it without realizing how fragile it is. This trap is particularly strong in September because energy is shifting quickly. You may feel a sense of urgency, almost like you need to prove to others that something is happening in your life. But premature confession is often a test of patience and discipline. Can you trust the process enough to let your vision grow quietly? Can you resist the temptation to prove yourself before it's time? History and scripture are full of examples of people whose premature revelations cost them dearly. Joseph, for instance, shared his dreams too soon with his brothers, and it stirred envy that led to betrayal. Many of us repeat the same pattern without realizing it. We tell a friend about an opportunity, and suddenly they are competing with us. We share a personal breakthrough, and suddenly someone is working behind the scenes to undermine it. Another hidden danger is doubt planters. Sometimes, the people you confide in don't even mean harm, but their words carry seeds of fear. Are you sure that's realistic? Or what if it doesn't work out? If your dream is still in its fragile stage, those doubts can seep into your spirit and weaken your faith. The solution is not to become paranoid, but to become wise. Not every vision is meant to be shared. Silence can be your greatest ally. Instead of rushing to announce your progress, document it privately. Journal your growth, write down your goals, and pray over them until they are strong enough to withstand external scrutiny. When the fruit is ripe, it will speak for itself. So remember this truth: premature confession is not a sign of faith, it's a sign of impatience. Protect what's growing inside you. Let your silence shield your destiny until the right time to reveal it arrives. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you, and not everyone who listens to your story is meant to carry it with care. Some people exist in your life for one subtle purpose: to drain your energy. These are the energy vampires, individuals who feed on your light, your hope, and your vision, often without you realizing what's happening until it's too late. What makes energy vampires so dangerous is that they rarely come looking like enemies. They disguise themselves as friends, confidants, or even mentors. They appear interested, they nod while you speak, and sometimes they even encourage you, just enough to lower your guard. But pay attention to what happens after the conversation. Do you leave feeling uplifted, or do you walk away drained, doubting yourself, or replaying negative words in your mind? That feeling of heaviness is often the mark of an energy vampire. Their tactics are subtle. Some plant tiny seeds of negativity. That sounds difficult. Are you sure you can handle it? Others mask envy with humor, disguising their criticism as a joke. Wow, you think you're going to do all that? Good luck with that dream. And some drain you not by words, but simply by demanding constant attention, unloading their problems onto you and leaving you empty while they walk away relieved. For the chosen ones, this is especially critical in September. Why? Because as the energy of breakthrough increases, so does the attraction of those who want to feed on it. Think about a light bulb in the night. It draws the most moths when it shines the brightest. Your glow, your momentum, and your spiritual progress naturally attract both supporters and siphoners. The key is discernment. How do you recognize them? Watch the fruit. Real supporters leave you with peace, clarity, and motivation. Energy vampires leave you second-guessing, depleted, or spiritually unsettled. And it's not always intentional. Sometimes these individuals are simply operating out of their own wounds, insecurities, or lack of faith. But whether intentional or not, the effect on you is the same: distraction, discouragement, and delay. The solution is boundaries. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do need to decide who gets access to your most sacred dreams. Share less. Observe more. If someone consistently drains you, protect your spirit by limiting the energy you give them. Not every ear deserves your vision, and not every hand deserves to touch the seed of your destiny. Remember this: your breakthrough requires energy. Don't waste it fueling those who only take and never give. Your light is too valuable to be dimmed by people who cannot handle its brightness. There is a hidden power in silence that most people underestimate. In a world where everyone is eager to announce their plans, broadcast their progress, and post every step on social media, silence becomes a rare form of strength. For the chosen ones, the law of silence is not about secrecy for the sake of being mysterious. It's about protection. Silence shields your vision while it is still forming, keeping it safe from outside interference, criticism, or manipulation. Think about nature for a moment. When a seed is planted, its most critical development happens underground, in complete darkness. Roots spread silently, unseen by anyone. If you were to dig it up to show proof that it's growing, you would kill the process. The same principle applies to your goals, your spiritual calling, and your personal breakthroughs. The most important growth often happens when no one else is watching. Silence allows that growth to remain undisturbed. There's also a psychological truth here. When you talk too much about your plans, your brain releases the same reward chemicals as if you had already achieved them. In other words, you feel satisfied simply from sharing, which can reduce your motivation to actually do the work. Silence, on the other hand, keeps you hungry. It fuels focus. It pushes you to pour energy into action instead of into empty conversations. Another reason silence is powerful is because it keeps the enemy guessing. When people don't know what you're planning, they can't strategize against it. Too many breakthroughs have been lost because someone shared their next move with the wrong person at the wrong time. Silence creates an element of divine mystery. It prevents the interference of those who may not understand or support your vision. But silence doesn't mean isolation. It means being intentional about what you share with whom and when. Instead of confessing every detail of your journey, write it down in a journal. Pray over it. Let your actions speak louder than your words. When the time is right, the results will announce themselves. By then, no one will be able to deny what has already been established. Living by the law of silence requires discipline. It can feel lonely at times, especially when you want validation or encouragement. But remember, validation is temporary, while manifestation is permanent. The harvest you reveal in the right season will speak far louder than words ever could. So protect your vision in silence. Let your growth remain sacred. The chosen ones are not called to broadcast every step. They are called to move wisely, strategically, and patiently. When the fruit is ripe, it will declare itself. Until then, guard it with silence. When most people think of opposition, they imagine enemies who are obvious, outsiders, strangers, or clear rivals. But in reality, the deepest wounds rarely come from those far away. They often come from the people closest to us, family, friends, or trusted companions. That's why one of the greatest strategies of the enemy is to use familiar faces. The truth is, betrayal doesn't sting unless it comes from someone who had your trust. A stranger cannot betray you, they can only attack you. Betrayal requires access, and access comes from closeness. This is why chosen ones must be cautious about confiding in people just because they feel familiar. Proximity does not always equal loyalty. History and scripture are full of examples. Joseph was sold into slavery not by strangers, but by his own brothers. Jesus was betrayed not by a Roman soldier, but by Judas, one of his disciples. Even in modern life, countless people have experienced the pain of sharing their dreams with a close friend, only to see that same friend compete with them, belittle them, or secretly celebrate their failure. Familiarity can hide envy, and envy is often silent until opportunity exposes it. This is especially dangerous in seasons like September, when breakthroughs are near. The closer you move toward destiny, the more your light reveals the shadows in others. Sometimes, it's not that they hate you, it's that your growth makes them confront their own stagnation. Instead of celebrating your progress, they feel threatened by it. That insecurity can drive them to discourage you, block opportunities, or even share your secrets with others. How can you discern when a familiar face is being used against you? Pay attention to subtle patterns. Do they downplay your victories? Do they only show up when you're struggling, but disappear when you're succeeding? Do you sense a quiet resistance in their energy whenever you share good news? These are red flags that their heart may not be aligned with yours, no matter how close they appear. The solution is not to cut everyone out of your life, but to practice wisdom. Trust should be earned, not assumed, even among family and friends. Share your vision only with those who have proven their loyalty through consistency, integrity, and genuine support. And even then, hold back certain details until the fruit is undeniable. Remember, the enemy rarely comes in obvious forms. He often comes through the most familiar voices, because those are the ones we're least likely to question. Guard your destiny by testing spirits, not just trusting faces. Those who truly love you will celebrate in silence or in public, but those who secretly war against you will always reveal themselves with time. Not every attack against your destiny comes in the form of open opposition. Sometimes it's far more subtle, people who plant small seeds of doubt in your mind, often disguised as concern, advice, or even love. These are the doubt planters. Their words may not seem harmful at first, but the effect they have on your spirit can be devastating if you're not careful. Doubt planters rarely come at you with outright negativity. Instead, they use soft phrases like, "Are you sure that's realistic?" or "I just don't want to see you get hurt." On the surface, it sounds caring, but underneath, it's a quiet attempt to make you question yourself, your vision, and the path you know you're meant to take. The danger is that once those words lodge in your heart, they can replay in your mind over and over, weakening your confidence. Why do people do this? Psychology gives us some insight. Often, doubt planters operate from their own limitations. If they've never seen something done, they assume it cannot be done. If they failed at a goal, they project that failure onto you. Sometimes it comes from envy. They don't want to see you succeed where they did not. And sometimes it's fear disguised as love. They are scared of losing the comfort of who you are now if you actually grow into who you are meant to be. For chosen ones, this can be especially dangerous in September, when breakthroughs are fragile. Just as a farmer knows weeds must be pulled early before they choke the crop, you must recognize doubt before it chokes your faith. It often begins small, one offhand comment, one raised eyebrow, one sarcastic joke. But if you internalize it, it can grow into hesitation, procrastination, or even abandonment of your vision. The key is to separate the voice of God from the voice of fear. When someone questions you, pause and ask, does this align with the vision I know was placed inside me? Or does it feed fear, insecurity, and hesitation? Constructive wisdom strengthens you, doubt weakens you. Learn to tell the difference. Another powerful tool is intentional self-talk. When someone plants doubt, counter it immediately with affirmation. If they say, that seems impossible, remind yourself, with God, nothing is impossible. If they say, no one has ever done that before, declare, then I will be the first. In this way, you uproot doubt before it takes root. The chosen ones must understand this. Doubt planters aren't always enemies. Sometimes they are family, friends, or even mentors who mean well. But good intentions don't make harmful words less dangerous. Protect your spirit by filtering what you accept. Only faith, not fear, deserves to take root in your heart. Most people underestimate the power of words. We treat them like casual noise, but in reality, every word spoken carries weight, spiritual weight. Conversations are not just exchanges of information. They are battlegrounds where faith, fear, hope, and doubt collide. This is why the chosen ones must recognize that spiritual warfare often takes place in everyday dialogue. Think about it, creation itself began with words, let there be light. Words can build, and words can destroy. When you speak carelessly about your visions or breakthroughs, you open a door for interference. The enemy doesn't always need weapons. Sometimes all he needs is your tongue. A careless confession can release your plans into the atmosphere where opposition quickly forms. This is why conversations need to be guarded, intentional, and rooted in wisdom. Spiritual warfare in conversations often shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you share a dream with someone and they immediately respond with negativity. That'll never work. In that moment, you are faced with a choice: accept their words and let them weaken your spirit, or reject them and reaffirm your faith. Sometimes the battle isn't with the other person at all, it's with yourself. The words they speak may echo in your own mind long after the conversation ends. Becoming internal warfare you have to fight repeatedly. Another layer to this warfare is agreements. When you nod in agreement with fear-filled statements like, "You're right, maybe I can't do this," you are unknowingly making a spiritual contract with failure. But when you counter with words of faith, "No, I believe this will happen because it's meant for me," you align yourself with victory. That's why discernment is critical. Every conversation is either strengthening your destiny or weakening it. To win these battles, chosen ones must cultivate spiritual discipline in their speech. Before sharing, ask yourself, does this conversation serve my destiny, or does it expose it to attack? Not every person deserves access to your inner plans. Silence, as we discussed earlier, is often the greatest protection. And when you do choose to speak, use words that reinforce strength, affirmations, declarations, and truth. Prayer and scripture can also become weapons in conversation. Instead of letting negative voices dominate, redirect discussions toward faith. If someone says, "That seems impossible," respond, "Nothing is impossible with God." If they say, "You'll probably fail," declare, "Even if I fall, I will rise again." This isn't just positive thinking, it's spiritual warfare. So remember, conversations are never neutral. They either plant seeds of life or seeds of death. Guard your tongue, guard your ears, and recognize that every word carries power. When you treat conversations like the battlegrounds they are, you'll walk away victorious instead of vulnerable. Sometimes the most important guidance doesn't come from people at all, it comes from within. For the chosen ones, dreams and intuition are powerful tools that God, the universe, or the higher self uses to protect them. These signals are often quiet, subtle, and easy to dismiss, but they carry urgent meaning. When ignored, they can lead to unnecessary pain, delays, or missed opportunities. Dreams are often symbolic, giving you glimpses into spiritual realities that your conscious mind might overlook. For example, dreaming of doors closing may be a sign that not every opportunity is meant for you. Seeing snakes or dark figures might symbolize betrayal, deceit, or hidden enemies. On the other hand, dreams of clear water, light, or flying often point toward breakthrough and spiritual clarity. These aren't just random images, they're warnings or confirmations to help you navigate your path with wisdom. Intuition works differently. It's that quiet inner voice, that gut feeling, that sudden check in your spirit when something feels off. Maybe you're about to share something personal and a thought flashes, "Don't say that." Or you meet someone new, and though they seem friendly, something in you whispers, "Be careful." That's not paranoia, it's protection. Intuition is often divine guidance disguised as a simple feeling. The problem is, many people ignore these signals. They brush them off as overthinking, only to regret it later. How many times have you said, "Something told me not to do this," after facing a setback? That something wasn't random, it was your spiritual radar alerting you before the danger came. For chosen ones in September, these warnings are especially important. This is a month of heightened spiritual activity, where breakthroughs and attacks often happen side by side. If your dreams feel more vivid or your intuition feels sharper, pay attention. Write down your dreams, pray for interpretation, and reflect on what your gut is telling you. Don't rush past these signals in the busyness of life. One practical way to honor these warnings is to pause before acting. If your spirit tells you not to share something, hold it back. If you feel uneasy about a person or situation, step away and observe before committing. Sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is simply waiting until clarity comes. The chosen ones are given dreams and intuitions not as burdens, but as blessings. They are like spiritual road signs guiding you through dangerous terrain. Trust them, test them, and use them. The more you listen, the clearer they become. Remember, breakthrough requires discernment. If your dreams warn you or your intuition checks you, don't dismiss it. It may be the very thing that saves your destiny. Every breakthrough comes with a test, and one of the greatest tests the chosen ones face is the test of discernment. Before blessings are released, God often checks if you can handle the responsibility that comes with them. Discernment, the ability to distinguish between what is for you and what is against you, is the key to passing this test. Without it, you risk sabotaging your own destiny by trusting the wrong people or moving in the wrong direction. Think about it, blessings are fragile when they first appear. Just like a newborn must be protected and cared for, your breakthrough needs covering. God will often allow certain people, opportunities, or distractions to cross your path, not to harm you, but to test whether you can recognize what is real and what is counterfeit. Will you open your heart to the wrong confidant? Will you give energy to someone who only takes? Or will you pause, listen, and discern before moving? Discernment isn't always about obvious choices. It's not just good versus evil. It's often good versus almost good. The enemy rarely tempts the chosen ones with what is blatantly destructive. Instead, he presents something that looks appealing, feels right in the moment, but ultimately pulls you away from your purpose. That's why discernment requires going deeper than appearances. You can't judge only by words, smiles, or surface-level actions. You must look at patterns, energy, and spiritual alignment. In September especially, this test intensifies. The energy shift we discussed earlier makes the stakes higher. Your vision is ripening, your spirit is sensitive, and distractions are multiplying. It's during this time that false opportunities may appear, relationships may be tested, and hidden motives in others may be revealed. What feels like betrayal or disappointment is often God's way of showing you what was never meant to go with you into the next season. How do you pass this test? By slowing down. Discernment requires patience. When someone offers advice, sit with it before accepting. When an opportunity looks too good to be true, pray for clarity before saying yes. And when your spirit feels uneasy, trust that unease instead of brushing it aside. God doesn't just test your faith in His promises, He tests your faith in His warnings. Remember, not every open door is meant to be walked through. Some are distractions designed to delay you. Passing the test of discernment means choosing alignment over appearance, wisdom over impulse, and purpose over comfort. The chosen ones who master discernment are those who walk into breakthroughs fully prepared, guarded, and unshaken. If you can discern wisely in this season, you will not just reach your breakthrough, you will be able to sustain it. Sometimes the best way to understand the power of silence is to see how it has shaped real lives. History, scripture, and even modern stories are filled with examples of people who achieved great breakthroughs not because they spoke loudly, but because they stayed quiet until the right time. Take Joseph, for example. Early in his life, he shared his dreams with his brothers, visions that he would one day rise to a position of authority. Instead of celebrating him, his brothers became envious and plotted against him. Though God's plan for Joseph eventually came to pass, his story teaches us the danger of revealing destiny too soon. If he had kept those dreams close until they matured, he might have avoided betrayal and delay. His silence could have saved him years of struggle. Another example comes from leaders throughout history. Consider great inventors, writers, and visionaries who worked in private long before the world recognized their brilliance. Thomas Edison didn't announce every experiment he conducted. He stayed in the laboratory, failing thousands of times before producing the light bulb. His silence allowed him to focus on action rather than explanation. When the breakthrough arrived, the results spoke louder than any words could have. Even in spiritual contexts, we see this principle. Jesus often told people he healed to tell no one about the miracle. Why? Because timing matters. Announcing something before its appointed season can bring unnecessary opposition. By practicing silence, the miracle was able to mature without interference. In more modern terms, think of entrepreneurs or artists who work quietly behind the scenes for years. They don't broadcast every idea on social media, they pour their energy into building. And when they finally launch, their success seems sudden, an overnight breakthrough that was actually years of silent preparation. This kind of silence is strategic, not passive. The lesson is clear. Silence is not about hiding, it's about timing. When you choose silence, you protect your vision from envy, interference, and doubt. You give it space to grow without outside contamination. And when the time is right, your breakthrough is undeniable, leaving even your critics in awe. For the chosen ones in September, these stories should serve as reminders. If your vision feels delicate, don't rush to announce it. Let your actions, results, and growth speak when the fruit is ripe. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the shield that allows destiny to flourish without distraction. So remember, history rewards the silent builders. Breakthroughs don't need constant narration, they need protection. When you guard your vision in silence, you ensure it has the strength to stand when it's finally revealed. Not every listener is safe, and not every conversation is sacred. One of the greatest challenges for the chosen ones is knowing when they're opening up to the wrong person. The danger is subtle. You may think you're sharing your heart with someone trustworthy, but the aftermath often reveals the truth. The wrong person doesn't just hear your words, they mishandle them. One of the first signs is how you feel after the conversation. Do you walk away lighter, or do you feel a heaviness pressing on your spirit? Safe people leave you with clarity, encouragement, and peace. Unsafe people leave you drained, second-guessing, or anxious. That shift in energy is not random. It's your inner compass alerting you that something isn't right. Another sign is their response. Do they listen with genuine interest, or do they dismiss your words with sarcasm or indifference? Pay attention to subtle reactions like eye rolls, smirks, or quick subject changes. These may seem small, but they reveal that your vision isn't safe in their hands. Sometimes, the wrong person will even fake support, but their lack of consistency later exposes their true stance. You can also recognize them through patterns. Do they gossip about others when you're together? If so, it's only a matter of time before your secrets become their next topic. Do they constantly compete with you, turning every success you share into a one-up story about themselves? That competitiveness often masks hidden envy. And do they leak information casually, brushing it off as just conversation? If they do it with others, they'll do it with you. The wrong person also reveals themselves through timing. Notice how some people only reach out during your vulnerable moments but disappear when you're thriving. They want access to your struggles, not your victories. They feed on your weakness but avoid your strength. That's not support, it's exploitation. The solution is discernment and boundaries. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do need to limit what you share. Keep sacred things with sacred people. Share your vision only with those who celebrate it consistently, protect it fiercely, and never weaponize it against you. Sometimes, the best move is to stop mid-conversation when your spirit nudges you. You don't owe anyone your secrets. Remember, your words are seeds. The soil you plant them in determines whether they grow or die. If you've been talking to the wrong person, don't be discouraged, just adjust. Learn, protect, and move wiser. The right people will never make you question whether your words are safe. One of the most misunderstood seasons in a chosen one's journey is the season of isolation. It feels lonely, it feels confusing, and it often makes you wonder if you've been forgotten. But isolation is rarely punishment, it is preparation. Before elevation comes, separation usually happens first. Look at the great stories throughout history and scripture. Moses was called into the wilderness before he could lead his people. David spent years tending sheep alone before he became king. Even Jesus spent 40 days in the desert before stepping into public ministry. These seasons of solitude were not wasted. They were necessary for shaping character, sharpening discernment, and building inner strength. Isolation works the same way today. When you're separated from familiar people, places, or patterns, it strips away distractions. Suddenly, you are left with yourself, your thoughts, and your creator. At first, that silence can feel uncomfortable, even painful, but over time, it becomes fertile ground for growth. In isolation, you learn to hear your own voice clearly. You learn to depend less on outside validation and more on inner conviction. The chosen ones must understand that not everyone can go where you're going. Elevation requires traveling lighter. Some relationships, habits, and environments cannot follow you into your next season. That's why isolation feels like subtraction, but in reality, it is addition by removal. By taking away what is not aligned, God makes space for what truly belongs. September, with its energy of transition, often highlights this truth. You may notice friendships fading, invitations slowing, or even sudden disconnections. Instead of panicking, see this as divine editing. You are being pruned, and pruning always comes before greater fruit. A tree doesn't grow stronger by keeping every branch, it grows by letting some go. What should you do in isolation? Lean into it. Use it as a time to journal, pray, meditate, or pursue creativity. Strengthen the gifts within you instead of longing for external company. Learn new skills, cultivate deeper self-awareness, and nurture your relationship with God. These practices turn solitude into empowerment. Most importantly, remember that isolation is temporary. It's a season, not a sentence. It prepares you for elevation so that when you step back into the world, you are equipped with strength, clarity, and resilience. The same people who doubted you will see a transformed version of you they cannot ignore. So if you find yourself alone right now, don't mistake it for abandonment. See it for what it is, the sacred prelude to your breakthrough. Isolation is not the end, it's the hidden doorway to elevation. One of the main reasons chosen ones fall into the trap of confiding in the wrong people is the desire for validation. When you're carrying something big inside you, whether it's a vision, a calling, or a breakthrough, you naturally want someone to say, "I believe in you." But relying on outside approval makes you vulnerable, because the wrong words can either inflate you with false pride or deflate you with crushing doubt. The solution is inner confidence, learning to stand so firmly in who you are and what you carry that no external voice can shake it. Inner confidence isn't arrogance. It's not about pretending you don't need anyone or refusing wise counsel. It's about anchoring your sense of worth and direction in something deeper than other people's opinions. For the chosen ones, this means grounding your confidence in divine identity, knowing that if God gave you the vision, then He also equipped you for it. So how do you build that strength? First, practice affirmations that remind you of truth. When self-doubt creeps in, speak directly to it. I am chosen, I am equipped, I am capable. Words shape your inner world just as much as they shape conversations with others. Repeating empowering truths rewires your mind to trust your own path. Second, embrace small wins. Confidence grows through experience, not just thoughts. Celebrate progress, even if it feels minor. Did you stay disciplined in your routine? That's a win. Did you take one step toward your goal today? That's a victory. These small acknowledgements build momentum, reminding you that you are moving forward, even when the breakthrough hasn't fully arrived yet. Third, learn to enjoy solitude. When you can sit with yourself and feel peace rather than restlessness, you know your confidence is strengthening. This means journaling your ideas, praying through your fears, and allowing yourself to dream without needing anyone else's immediate approval. Your vision becomes safer in your own company than in careless conversations. Finally, shift your focus from proving yourself to fulfilling your purpose. Many people burn out because they live for validation, posting every step, announcing every move, waiting for likes and applause. But applause fades quickly, and if your confidence depends on it, so will your motivation. When you root your efforts in purpose instead of performance, your strength becomes unshakable. Remember this, the loudest validation will eventually come not from words, but from results. When your fruit begins to show, even the doubters will have to acknowledge it. Until then, let your confidence be built privately. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust the one who called you. Inner confidence is the armor that keeps the chosen ones from seeking approval in dangerous places. Strengthen it daily, and you'll never again feel the need to hand your destiny over to someone else's opinion. All the wisdom, warnings, and insights we've explored lead to one critical question: what do you actually do with this knowledge? Awareness is powerful, but without action, it remains unfinished. That's why the chosen ones need a clear, practical plan for navigating September, one that protects their energy, strengthens their focus, and prepares them for breakthrough. The first step is guard your circle. Make a list, mental or written, of the people you trust with sensitive information. Ask yourself honestly, does this person uplift me or drain me? Do they celebrate me or compete with me? If anyone consistently leaves you feeling uncertain, anxious, or heavy, limit what you share with them this month. Silence is your shield. Use it wisely. Second, create daily spiritual practices. Start your mornings with intention setting. This could be prayer, meditation, journaling, or even speaking affirmations aloud. I am protected, I am aligned, I am moving toward my destiny. By doing this, you anchor your day before the world's noise can distract you. End your evenings with reflection. Review the conversations you had. Did any feel off? Did your spirit nudge you to hold back? By tracking these patterns, you sharpen discernment day by day. Third, use solitude as a tool. Don't fight the quiet seasons, embrace them. Block out time each week to disconnect from unnecessary noise, whether that's social media, gossip, or draining company. Use that space to focus on your gifts, strengthen your skills, and nurture your spirit. What feels like loneliness now will reveal itself later as preparation. Fourth, practice controlled sharing. Not every vision needs to stay hidden forever, but timing is everything. Train yourself to delay announcements until results are secure. For example, instead of saying, "I'm planning this project," wait until you can say, "This project is finished." The fruit speaks louder than intentions, and it protects you from premature interference. Finally, protect your energy physically and emotionally. Eat nourishing foods, get proper rest, and avoid environments that consistently lower your vibration. Breakthrough requires strength, and strength is built through daily habits. Don't underestimate the power of small lifestyle choices. They directly affect your ability to stay spiritually alert. When you combine these steps, guarding your circle, daily spiritual practices, solitude, controlled sharing, and energy care, you create a protective shield around your breakthrough. This plan doesn't just help you survive September, it positions you to thrive. Remember, every action you take to protect your vision is an investment in your destiny. September is not a month for reckless words or careless moves. It is a month for wisdom, patience, and alignment. Follow this plan, and you'll step into your breakthrough not just hopeful, but prepared.